Hello, Sage here on the Sage channel, and today we're here to look at an update to my Industrial Cockpits and More mod, and mainly this update, well, pretty much completely focuses on the More part of that name. It's no longer just a mod with a singular cockpit in it. I've gone ahead and added a few other blocks to it, and you might look at the ship in front of us and say, that is a nice cockpit, but where's the new stuff? That all looks pretty standard. Well, if you really think about it, it's not very standard, is it? Because usually, you wouldn't be able to have this cockpit connected with its large oak connector at the back, and still have all these other large things connected to it. So I've gone ahead and just put together a rather simplistic six-way connector. And you can see there, it's actually designed to blend in pretty damn well with the actual cockpit itself. So if we delete the cockpit, you can see just a six-way connector. In fact, we can delete all of this stuff and you'll just see the connector on its own, just floating here. And this, of course, does indeed have build states. Now, you'll notice quite a bit of stuff down below us there. That's because I got a bit carried away. I built this, and then I realized how much I dislike the standard connectors plugging into this, because this takes up pretty much the full 3x3x3 area. I mean, you can build over any side of this, whereas normal standard connectors, except for the big, huge, blocky ones, you can't really build over too much of them. I could demonstrate that really quickly. We'll just go ahead and grab a standard connector pipe, so we can go ahead and put that in there. You can see you can't build on that. Even though it's still a pretty hefty thing, you can't build on it. So I decided, you know what, let's just replace them all with our own types. So I've gone ahead and added in our own type of connector blocks there. And you can see we can indeed build on the sides, and it does indeed have a connection light. And to better demonstrate that, we have all the stuff down here. And just like before, this is using the same paintable sort of, well, paint texture, so they're all colorable. And you can see we have using a corner pipe, because I also found that, hey, we should have our own corner pipe. You can see it has little corner lights on them, tiny little lights on the side, and all these lights are actually inset a little bit with a warning thing on the sides of them to give them a little bit more detail. It's sort of clean, but I love it. It's not super high detail, but it's also, I don't know, it just flows. I love the way they look, and well, I do like my cubic sort of stuff, and now these are very cubical, and of course you can build on the sides of all of them. You might be noticing something else here. Is this little block here with a little tiny connectors on the sides of that. Since I was changing all these around, and since I put in a six-way connector and didn't necessarily want you to be having to use my six-way connector and then also switching back to using the old-fashioned six-way connector that had the three little access ports on the sides, I decided and went ahead and added in these blocks here. So this is sort of a little, and we have a good demonstration of it up here, a sort of filler-in block that bumps it over just one, similar to the one in the normal game. But this one has these little access points on the side, and you can see they're demonstrated here, where they actually do indeed function. And then I figured, you know what, you might want to come to the end or be having some of these pipings leading up somewhere, and if you might want to just end it right there and go to straight the small ones, I have this here for you as well, so you can just end it right like so. And that's what you might be seeing over here on these colorful ones, is that's what this block is right here, is just that end block sticking out one. If we delete it, you can see we had the six-way behind it. And this is the little sticky outy of the sides and those. Now, when it comes to naming and all of these, if we scroll down in just the All tab, I've moved my mod from, I think it was showing up somewhere up here previously, to down here. So it's actually a bit of space, and you see the cockpits right here, and now I have all of these set up just right along here. And I'll be adding sometime in the future, no idea when, hopefully soon, a connector as well with the same sort of style, because right now it can be a little bit weird to see these all leading up to suddenly the normal standard connector, even though it looks better than a lot of other blocks do with these. But you can see that's where they all are, and I actually have them lined up. Here is the way I like to put them on my hotbar with the conveyor, the standard conveyor pipe, and I have named these a little bit different than the standard ones. The L joint, which is the corner joint, the hex hub, hex being, I believe, 6, so it has 6 sides, and then of the converters, since you're going from basically large, or as they're named in the files, medium pipe, down to the small one. So I have converter 1 and converter 2, and it's called conveyor converter, so you can search for the word conveyor. Also, you can, of course, just go to the Industrial Cockpits and More tab here, and I put them all in here as well. And I've even gone ahead and added the cockpit into the cockpits thing, if it wasn't there already, and I've actually added these into the conveyors tab as well. So they're all where you'd expect them to be. Anyway, with that, you can go ahead and make ships like this, which is rather simplistic, but is something you couldn't do before because you didn't have a six-way connector. Or you can start building up slightly more advanced things. Where'd they go? I had these over here, where I used a bunch of these six-way connectors to have these very strange-looking things here. And then I think I even have another edit of one of these where I went ahead and just went all out with, yeah, using the new blocks just to make a very, very strange looking ship. Anyway, guys and gals, that is that. I should point out that they all do have build states as well. Here's the 2 build states for the Hex Hub. You see a slightly shiny metal, very hard to see, but it does have build states on them. There, that's a completed Hex Hub. You got one of the converters right here, and this build state right there, it's only got one. The other converter right here, and it's singular build state, and you'll see it does have little square openings to show everything. And of course, I had to put, I decided to put a little sort of mini square in the middle so you could still build on these and it wouldn't look like anything was just floating in midair. And then, of course, up here we have the normal standard conveyor pipe with its super shiny interior because it's just like pressed metal is the idea there. And then, of course, up here we do have the L joint with more shiny metal and a few seams there, but I figured, well, best to have the seams as if it's made from a few different pieces of metal. Anyway, guys and gals, that is that. Before I end it, though, I would like to go ahead and thank more patrons, because on my Patreon, I have had quite a few more people join up, and, well, it's one of the reasons this has been updated so quickly, instead of this maybe being a week or a month out or never getting done, or maybe just being that Hex Hub. I went ahead and did all this just because, well, so many people went ahead and donated and gave to me that, well, I have such inspiration and energy to do this stuff. It's awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and also thank one Tyler J, or Tyler D. Middle name was J. Well, has the J in it. He had apparently donated to me on Patreon, and I missed him last week. I was looking through some more stuff, and I realized I missed him. Thank you a bunch from last week for just getting the ball rolling. And also big thanks to Jeffrey R. I believe I thanked him last week as well, but he donated to me directly on PayPal and on Patreon, which was, well, bloody awesome. I mean, it's just absolutely awesome. Thank you a bunch, Jeffrey R. You are just awesome, dude. Also, a quick shout out to one Bass K, that's B-A-S. Very, very awesome. He donated on PayPal, just a straight donation. Thanks for that. We also have Mason W., Lucas J., John N., Edward O., Michael L., Graham R., Peter M., which did also donate to me on Patreon, or on PayPal previously. I think he was the very first guy that donated to me, so big thanks to you, man, for also going ahead and joining my Patreon. I do post construction states and little video bits and stuff up there as I'm working on some of this stuff. These, I ended up working through them basically over the last few days. It's one of the reasons I missed a video one of these days, because I was just like, I just want to get this done. I want to get this done and updated. And then Mark M. and James H. Big thanks to all you guys. You are awesome. Some of you guys have been commenting on Patreon as I've been doing little tiny update bits to these. Really appreciate the comments, even if it just looks awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. And thank you all of you guys for donating as well, signing up on my Patreon. Even if it's just $1, it's awesome to have people say, well, here's a little something to help you keep going and get these things done. So what's next for this mod? Well, the main plan at the moment is just simply, well, actually add some more cockpits to the Industrial Cockpits and more mod, as well as maybe look into replacing that connector and maybe hydrogen thrusters with my own versions sometime in the future. Anyway, once again, thank you a bunch for everyone for supporting me. None of this would be possible without you, and thanks a bunch for watching. I'll see you guys and gals next time. Ta-ta.